And then we're going to do this one here. So one TikTok, one Instagram. And if we want to flip the scene, I can just flip it, draw some paintings. And all right, guys, we are live. Just trying to get this chat set up. Oh, it's not very good. Testing. Need to get the microphone, plug in the mic. Get that mic plugged in. All right, I want to see if there's any viewers or stuff here. Scene collection. Okay. Testing. Right, I think that's all good to go. And we got this one recording. We've got our camera going. Before I go live on TikTok and Instagram, I just want to make sure that how do I set up the view of the comments on this thing?
Go back to scene.
OBS. Right, team, just give us a few minutes. We just want to set up the comments on OBS. OBS, how to turn and view on. Click on Docs. Top menu bar. Docs. Oh, there we go. Select the stream, refresh it. Alrighty, good. Docs. Lock docs, stats, chat. Right, we've got the chat going. Participants. Chat is going. We've got 0 viewers. Right, live.
Yeah, you see the comment? No.
Comment? Hey bro, big fan. I think that's all good to go, eh? I feel restricted on this side over here, but it's all right. Okay, we are going, team. We're going to do a live stream, and we're doing the top 10 questions for real estate agents on how to succeed in real estate. We do have a split screen view over here, so if we want to switch between our scenes, I can draw some nice pictures over here. And we've got live on YouTube, so if you do want to see on YouTube, that's where we're going to be showing everything, but then we've also got Instagram as well. So let's kick off the first option over here, the first question. So let's say there's agents that have plateaued around $200,000 commission and they're struggling and they want to succeed. These are some questions that are some of the top questions that people can answer. So we've got the first question: how do I generate more leads without spending more hours prospecting? So their core problem right now is their bottleneck at this level. They've maxed out their personal reach capacity. And that's the main thing with real estate, is we are limited. Oh, let's just check we got one more camera. Is this one recording? How do I generate more leads without spending more hours prospecting? So the first thing we need to think about is leverage. Now, if we look at all real estate teams and real estate businesses, it's all about the amount of eyeballs that you get, because you actually don't know when someone's going to sell. There's a bit of an unknown when someone's going to sell. So I really want the most amount of eyeballs with the least amount of effort. So we look at like the real estate funnel. Most people we can see are at the top, and you're going to send Facebook ads, you're going to send letters, you're going to do all these different things, and there's only going to be around 3.7% of people that are going to sell their home in the next 1 year period. So that 3.7% is a very small amount, but we have to do such a huge amount of volume of all those people, and we want to maximize amount of volume. Now, there's a few ways we can leverage our time. We can do phone calls. So let's say you're going to do phone calls, and we're going to do 5 to 10 calls every day, and that's great. That's awesome. But 5 to 10 calls is low leverage. So there's a few different ways that we create huge leverage in our business. Is firstly to text messages. Now, why we do text messaging is because text messages are read 97% of the time within a 30-minute time frame. So 97% is huge. It's massive. And that is ultimate leverage. Now, you can manually text people 1111, but that's going to be a waste of time and energy. So we use our text group apps. Now, you do all these real estate agencies and their teams say, "Look, we've got all the text apps, it's amazing." But we use group text or Hit 'em Up app. And this is like an absolute game changer when you want to build your business in real estate, is because you can upload 100 people into one text app and text them all immediately once. Then you can upload 20 groups on your group app, and those groups can have your whole database. And you can text them all every 2 weeks. So let's say in a 2-week period, let's do the math over here. We've got, say, one agent is going to call 10 people a day for 5 days a week. That's going to be 50 connects. So they're going to have 50 opportunities. But the other agent B is we're going to do text messaging. And they've got a database of 2,000 people. And those 2,000 people, they're going to text they're going to text 1,000 per week. So 1,000 touch points. So now automatically you've spent no extra time because you've got an automatic texter, and that's 1,000 people that are going to get your knowledge. Now, what are we going to text them? We're going to keep it super simple. It's going to be a just listed or just sold, and maybe the auction results. Auction results. And it doesn't have to be your property that you sold. Like, who cares? If it's not your property that you sold, then it doesn't matter. You're just texting everyone to let them know information about the market. You're the market leader and you're providing value. So now agent B, agent A, 50 touch points. Agent B, 1,000 touch points per week. Now, the good thing with these 1,000 touch points is when you call the vendors again every single one month to 3 months, they're going to know who you are. So I've texted people for 3 years, and I call them. They're like, "Oh, mate, you've been texting me for 3 years. Thank you for the text. I love reading your text messages." I had one guy called Alan. He never even saved my number to his phone. It would just be the number. And he doesn't know, like, he just sees my text. He's like, "You know what? Every time I read your text, I get this uplift of energy, and I feel happy and I feel energized." And that's what we want to do, is we want to continuously provide information and value to our target audience. And there's going to be people that unsubscribe. You need to have 1 or 2 people unsubscribe every single week for your text messaging system. Now, the next thing is, so that's probably built around about a 20% of my business is text messaging. The next thing we look at is, what else have we got? We've got letterbox drops, and people say, do they work? Don't they work? Well, they do work when you do enough. You have to do a huge volume. So if we look at letterbox drops, I'd say 30% of our business comes from the letterbox. But how many do we have to do? When I was a new agent, I was doing 3,000 flyers every single 1 to 2 weeks, and I was struggling because I was doing them in all different areas. I'm going one area, other area, another area, another area, and no one was calling me because people didn't see the repetition of more and more people in the letterbox. So we've got flyers and letters. And most agents, they do the problem. They want to do one area and then they think it doesn't work. But it's really, someone needs to see your flyer 10 to 15 times to even get cut through of your message or marketing. Even for you to build enough trust. If you don't have enough trust built with a person, then it's going to be tough for you to them to give you a call. So we'd really want to build that familiarity. So that's the next thing, is how are we going to deliver 2,000 flyers every single week? That's our goal, 2,000 flyers every week. Well, we can do it ourselves, and that's going to take you, it might take you 10 hours delivered, 10 to 15 hours you need to walk and deliver. And that's a pretty good way to exercise, is you just go and deliver in your marketplace every single day without stopping. The other way is you can pay someone. So let's say there's 1,000 flyers, you're going to pay them $120 to deliver flyers in your marketplace. That $120 is now leverage, because now you are saving 4 hours of your life and you don't have to deliver all these flyers. So that's what I'd be doing, is I'd be paying someone $120 for 1,000 flyers, and I'll do that at least 2 times a week in the same area. So you might have 5,000 homes and you're just repeating again. The next level of that is you want to be doing, say, 10,000 flyers every week. So 10,000 is the next level. And the next level is maybe 20,000 flyers per week. And this all comes down to that reinvestment of your money. So this is not having to spend more hours prospecting. Now, the next thing, we can look at how do we get more leads without putting more hours in? So I was like, well, I can pay someone in New Zealand $25 an hour to $25 to do phone calls, but this is damn expensive. It's a waste of my time and energy to do all this phone calling and pay them. So what I did is I went to Upwork. Upwork, that's a freelancer app, and you can find out anyone from New Zealand, and you can go and hire someone in the Philippines. And now you can pay them. What are you going to pay them? Maybe $7 per hour. So if you pay someone $7 per hour, it's almost nothing. It's like $12 New Zealand Kiwi, and someone's going to phone call they're going to call the person maybe 20 to 30 dials every single hour for 7 hours per day. And that's going to be so cheap. You're going to pay them, what, $300, $400 for the week, and they're just going to keep calling your whole database. And that's super powerful. So what we did is we set up our new team member, Kevin, and we got him set up, and he's doing, the guy's doing maybe 600 calls. 600 calls every single week, I think. And he'll book in maybe 3 to 4 very warm appraisals. And of the 3 to 4 warm appraisals, we might sign up 1 listing in the future. So that's an easy 1 listing signed just from another person calling your database. But what's the script? It's a super simple script. We're not going to overcomplicate it. It's firstly, hey, it's Danny from Team Lawrence. Hope you're having a great day. Reason for the call: we just sold a development site around your area. $1.3 million, and a few buyers have missed out. At the right price, would you consider selling if we introduce our buyers? We have developers and home buyers. So we want to sell them on the opportunity of getting sold immediately. I don't want to sell them on, hey, do you want to do an auction? We can do a free appraisal. We can do this. No, I'm going to sell them on, let's get you sold immediately with these free buyers. That is the powerful thing, because they want to say, oh, yeah, I want to sell immediately. That sounds like a great idea. People want the goal. They don't want they want the holiday. They don't want the flight. They don't want sitting next to someone. They don't want the small economy destination. They want to be on the beach immediately. So we want to give them the beach by selling them that opportunity. Let's see. Morgan Roberts said, thoughts on AI callers. So AI callers, I've tried them in the past. There are some that work well, but then you do lose that personal connection. And I think they're not there just yet for some of the systems. You're going to call everyone, and a lot of people just hang up. They don't want to speak to an AI caller. So I think we're almost there, but right now it works really well for a virtual assistant. They make a few mistakes. It's a bit more personal and connection. And sometimes it's the jagged mistakes that people makes them connect to another person. So that's what we found, is that just a person speaking to a person is still working quite well. But look, I think in a year or so, we will be moving more and more to the AI callers, which is pretty interesting. But I would just hire someone from the Philippines, and they're just going to be continuously calling. Next thing we've got is, how much does it cost to pay someone to drop flyers? So basic cost is, I'd be looking to spend $120 for 1,000 flyers. Like, I'm not looking to spend a lot of money. If you're going to do letters, like you can print out letters and they're going to individually put those letters into the letterboxes, then I'd be paying them around $80 for 500. The one thing with the fly delivery people is we do want to be tracking them. So I download an app called Strava, and this app can track them so that they don't throw them in the bin, because I've paid some guys flyers, and the one guy just he picked up the flyers, said he did it, and then he threw them all in the bin, and now he expects to get paid. So that was a guy that I fired automatically. The next thing I would do is I would look at, definitely have the Strava app. If you have kids that are doing it, you want to make sure that the kids actually putting them in their letterbox and not putting 10 or 20 flyers in. I've had that as well. They put 20 flyers in, and then someone called and said, hey mate, I got 20 flyers in my letterbox. So I said, okay, fire the kid automatically and then just move on to the next person. So that's the tricky thing with flyers, is finding the right flyer delivery people, because it's actually easy to pay someone $120 and they deliver flyers, but you've got to trust them and you've got to make sure they deliver. So download the Strava app on your phone, tell them download the app, send a screenshot. I want to see the number of steps you do, I want to see the route, and I want to see the flyers, and I want to see that all in proof, and then I'll pay you $120. And sometimes you might pay them $150 for 1,000. If it's big houses, they have to walk very far. But our houses are quite close to each other. Let's see, how to get leverage in a farm area where 2 strong agents are already doing good. For KP 1110. So look, I mean, at one time those agents were not very good and they had to build up their reputation. So let's say someone's going to sell their property, they're going to choose an agent that they see the most in their head, or the agent that's most recently in touch with them. So our goal is to oversaturate their mind. So if we can look at the graph over here, and we'd see all the agents in a person's head, they're going to choose. So these are all the agents in the whole of your suburb, and there's maybe 1 agent, 2, 3. So there's going to be 1 agent, 2, or 3. And then we've got all the different other agents. We've got 300 to 400 options to choose. So with a consumer, when they're going to pick an agent to sell, they're going to think, okay, I'm going to choose 1 to get an appraisal, and then 2, I'm going to get a second opinion, and maybe 3 if I'm feeling good. And that's all they're going to decide. So when someone decides to sell, you need to be number 1 or number 2. And if you're not number 1 or number 2, you are number 0. That's our key with real estate sales, is how do we become number 1 or 2? It's because we need to have touch points. We need to be in their letterbox, let's say 25 times a year. We need to speak to them 4 times a year. We need to text them, let's say 25 times a year. Then they need to be on social media. They might see us maybe 25 times. And maybe they see your signboards up. Maybe they see your big signboards 25 times. That might, let's say your open home signs, that might be, they see it 1,000 times. So you can see you've got 100 to 1,000 views, and they're going to see your stuff 1,000 to 100 times. Now they're going to be more likely to use you as an agent. Now the second agent, maybe this agent they haven't seen much, but he's just door knocked at the right time, the right place, and he's going to get the listing. So those are the options. Is either you can be the agent that is viewed the most in the marketplace, or you can be the agent that is there immediately and ready to go. So what I'd be doing is I'd be seeing how can I maximize the amount of leverage in my business if I'm up against these 2 really good agents? Well, I'm going to do the basic things. I'm going to try speak to 20 people per day minimum, and I need to book in 2 face-to-face appointments. Face-to-face. Next thing I want to be doing every single week, I want to be doing 1,000 letterbox minimum. Next thing I need to be doing 1,000 text messages. Text. So many people co-hosting on TikTok. I think I'm getting all these spammers. 1,000 texts, 2 face-to-face appointments, and then I want to be spending, look, initially $100 to $200, 100 to 200 on Facebook. And that's going to be boosted. And it's going to be of yourself talking about the property market update. That's your minimum standard. So you should be seeing at least 7 to 10 people every single week in person, face-to-face, that are thinking of selling in the next 12 months or want to get a price update. That is our goal, 7 to 10 face-to-face. So when I did $1.87 million commission in 1 year, I was doing 13 face-to-face every single week. So 13 face-to-face is the key to get $1.87 million in commission. but we had to book in 22 appraisals. So if you have to book in 22 appraisals, that's a lot of people. That's a shitload of people to meet, and then they're going to be rescheduled, recancel, and then you only get to speak to 13 people face to face. We signed up 1.5 to 2 people per week, and we sold 1.5 every single week for a whole year, $1.87 million. What calls would you make opposed to a freelancer? Lath.com. Lath, what calls? So freelancer is going to be basic scripts. It's going to be just over canvassing your whole database. I'm going to give them my whole database of all buyers, all Facebook inquiries, everyone. They're just going to say, hey, we've got a property recently sold. We got 40 buyers missed out. Developers, home buyers want to buy in your street. Do you want to get sold? Then they're going to say, yes, I will sell at the right price. And then they're going to pass the lead to you. And then you're going to identify and you're going to qualify them. You say, look, first we need to give you an appraisal. Once you've got the appraisal, then we're going to decide if we can bring our buyers through, if you're happy with the price. So I'm never going to say, let's bring our buyers through now. It's like, look, we need to do appraisal first, then we'll decide if we want to get the buyers through. So it's just an excuse to get in the front door at the end of the day. You want to use that as an excuse, give them a realistic appraisal. If they're too unrealistic, you have to say no as an agent, because you're going to waste your time if you're going to be trying to sell for people that are unrealistic. So if you look at all the property sellers that are going to sell in the next 12 months, let's averages 4% are going to sell in the next 12 months. 4% are going to list or 8% are going to list their property online. So there's going to be 4% of people that are going to waste your time. They're not going to sell, they're going to be online, and it's just a complete waste of time. That's who we do not want to work with. You're going to waste time working with that 4% who's never going to sell because they're unrealistic, they don't want to sell, agents overpraised it, and it's just a waste of time. So we do need to be realistic with people. If they have a very strong motivation, then they're definitely going to sell. So it's all about that motivation. So people say, how do you appraise a property? Like, what do you do to appraise a property? Well, there's a few things. With my qualifying questions, I'm going to determine, with my questions, are you in that 4% of will they definitely sell? So I want to find out, what is their motivation? Is their motivation very strong? Do they have a plan? What's their finance like? Have they got enough money to make the move? And do they have to sell? I'll say, do you have to sell? Could you live here another 2 years or 1 or 2 years? They might say, no, I'm selling. I'm ready to sell. Then these people, strong motivation. Do they have finance? Like, can they literally, if they want to upsize, do they have the money, enough finance, enough deposit to upsize? Do they have a plan? Well, if you were to sell, where would you go? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. Okay, no plan. Motivation. What's the key reason? Because if the motivation is strong enough, price becomes irrelevant. So the more motivation they have, the more irrelevant the price is. We've had people that say, I want $2 million. $2 million is their price. And then what happens? We sell the property for $1.3 million. That's the market price. So what it came down to, their motivation was stronger than their price. The price became irrelevant. But if they've got no motivation to sell at all, then price is very relevant because they're not going to change their price to sell. All right. When did you start in real estate journey? How to make first year successful? So I started in real estate. I've got to shoot in like a few minutes, but I started in real estate. This was about 4 and a bit years ago. And I took about a 1 year period to get any strong momentum. I was with a commercial agent, the wrong mentor, $100,000 agent, and I was getting the wrong mentorship advice. After that, it was 8 months of cold calling, COVID, no deals happening, almost went broke, joined another company as a residential agent, another few more months of no money. But I was training, practicing, and doing appraisals. So I had logged around 200 appraisals. I was practicing every single day with my scripts, my dialogues, and I was trying to build up my sales skills. And it's just a volume game. Like, if your skills are terrible, you just need more volume. You could be the worst salesperson, the worst person ever, the worst agent, but if you go speak to enough people, you'll find that one person that wants to sell with you. And until you've got a few of those repetitions, real estate is quite difficult. So if I was to do things differently, I'd pair up with an agent with good experience who's done everything in the past, and then ride off their success with their knowledge, their skills, and try just get some listings under the belt. If you could get 4 to 5 properties sold under your belt by pairing up with someone, and don't focus on the money. Don't focus on the money at all. Just focus on the skills. Because the first 1 or 2 years, you should not focus on money at all. You should just focus on how do I maximize my skills and put all my money back into marketing. So if you could take all your money and then reinvest it back into marketing, that's how you're going to scale up as quick as possible, by reinvesting. What is happening over here? Viewer rankings. Cool. So when I started reinvesting, I was putting in probably 80% of my money back into flyers, Facebook ads. I hired an admin assistant straight away, and that helped us we did around $800,000 commission in a 1-year period. And then after that, we went to 1.5 million. But after that first year, I had no money left in my account. I put all my money back in the admin, marketing, Facebook ads. So I was just focused on how do I sell 100 homes as quick as possible. Once you've sold 100 homes, that's when you can start to leverage your brand, and then the phone starts to ring. Like, people call you. They say, I saw your signboard there, calling you there. I've got recently 9 listings on social media in the past 2 months, just from posting a lot on social media, and people see the results. KP1110, is door knocking still preferable compared to cold calling? What should be the concentration of these two prospecting activities? Door knocking, cold calling, both of them can work completely fine. The whole goal is to build your leads, you build your database. If you have 2,000 numbers to call or 1,000 to call them first and keep calling them every 3 months at minimum. So that's very important, because people's situation always changes. So calling is very good. You should be doing, say, 2 45-minute call sessions every day. But then the door knocking as well, that can work, but you need to be speaking to people and getting their phone numbers and contact details. There's no point door knocking 20 to 50 doors and you don't get any phone numbers and you don't identify any sellers with a future plan. The goal is data collection. So when you speak to someone, you say, look, hope you're doing well. We just sold this around the corner. When another one lists on your street, should I send my details through? Should I let you know what it sells for? Or if you've recently listed a property, you say, look, I'll let you know when the property sells. What's your best phone number? I'll text it through to you. If someone doesn't want to give the phone number, you might say, look, when you do have an opportunity to maybe have some property plans, I'd love to be the opportunity to be your agent. And what's your best number? Let's keep in touch. So it's using some dialogues to just trying to get their phone number through providing recent sales, providing value, or saying, I'd love the opportunity to be your agent when you are ready. So if we were to look at if you're going to door knock every day, trying to get 5 to 10 phone numbers every day. And we can do the math. What's that? 5 numbers every day. 5 times 5, it's 25 for the month, 25 for the week. And then you're looking at 100 per month, which is equal to, let's say you're going to get 1,000 phone numbers in the year. So that 1,000 numbers, if we take 4% that are going to sell, that's going to be 40 sold within there. And that 40 sold, that's going to be about $1.2 million commission. So there we go. 1,000 numbers, $1.2 million commission. Is that right? That looks about right. Maybe you won't get the opportunity of all 40 of those. You might get half of them. So maybe you can get $600,000 commission just by getting those 1,000 contacts. If you can get 2,000 contacts in your database, that is where liquid gold happens. You can run $1 million business off that 2,000 if the average price is going to be, say, $1 million on average. All right, we've got the last question. We've got to go soon. Let's have a look here. Last question. When should I hire my first assistant, and what should I hand off first? So most people they want to get another sales associate. That's incorrect. You should definitely get an assistant to take off all your admin. Emails, you shouldn't do appraisal work. You shouldn't be doing anything that's got to do with the computer. Social media designs, Canva designs, drafting up sale and purchase agreements. They can help you with that, doing all the marketing collateral. That is the first thing to take away, because that's a $25 hour task. Then once you've done that, then you're going to get an associate. Most people get the associate first, then they got the lead agent still doing admin and wasting their time. So very good, team. I think that's all good to go. All right, team, have a good day. We'll keep in touch.